Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder which causes complications affecting the respiratory and digestive systems and other organs. It is a progressive, life-limiting condition for which there is no cure and affects one child in approximately every 2,500 births in Australia. Thankfully, there are medications and other treatments which can reduce complications associated with CF, both improving quality of life and extending lifespan. Today, people with CF may live into their mid to late 30s or 40s, with some even into their 50s. One company that provides leading medicinal treatments for sufferers of CF is Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Vertex is a global biotechnology company headquartered in Boston with additional research and development facilities in the United States and the UK, as well as offices in Europe, Australia and Brazil. Vertex was founded in 1989 and its mission today is to create transformative medicines for people with serious diseases. Vertex is continuing to develop new CF treatments, and its R&D pipeline today also includes programs across other disease areas and modalities, including sickle cell disease, kidney disease, type 1 diabetes and non-opioid treatment of acute pain. These programs are at various phases of clinical trial, and are summarized in the table here. Vertex's CF products are mainly sold to a limited number of specialty pharmacies and distributors in the US, while international market sales also include hospitals and clinics. Due to the high cost of its products, Vertex's product sales largely depend on reimbursement by third-party payers, such as government health programs and insurance. For instance, without subsidy from the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme in Australia, Vertex's Trikafta product would cost patients more than $250,000 a year. As such, Trikafta is only reimbursed in around 30 countries, including the UK, Germany, France and Denmark. As a large and well-established business with proven and monopolistic treatments, Vertex is highly profitable and is in a strong position to continue funding its R&D efforts to drive future growth. Most recently, the company's Trikafta product, which gained approval in the US in 2019 and EU in 2020, has been a key driver of revenue and earnings growth. Trikafta can treat approximately 90% of patients with CF and is protected by patents until 2037, making it highly lucrative. Trikafta's sales growth has been nothing short of spectacular in a very short space of time. In financial year 2021, Trikafta sales increased 47% and represented 75% of Vertex's total product revenue. Not surprisingly, Vertex's latest treatments can cannibalize sales of its older drugs. But as the table shows, the company's total product revenue has grown substantially just over the past 2 financial years. Future product sales should also benefit from the continued rollout of Trikafta as well as label expansion, such as expanding the target population or age group of a drug, for previously approved products and expanded patient access to these medicines through reimbursement. Indeed, Vertex's management has guided for healthy top-line growth of 15% in financial year 2022, primarily reflecting recent product reimbursements and uptake of Trikafta outside the US. Meanwhile, Vertex's leadership in CF treatment and resultant cash flows enables considerable investment in R&D. In just the June quarter in 2022, Vertex expensed $600 million in R&D as it progresses its various programs. These new programs represent potential multi-billion-dollar opportunities, with Vertex identifying a $4 billion market for acute pain in the US alone and 100,000 APOL1-mediated kidney disease patients, more than the number of patients with CF in the US and EU. These opportunities are on top of Vertex's proven capability to develop new, highly effective and highly profitable therapies for CF. Vertex's CF products generated $4.3 billion in revenue for the 6 months ended the 30th of June 2022, a 22% increase on the previous corresponding period. Operating income was $2.1 billion, representing impressive operating margins of 50% and included $1.2 billion of R&D expenses during the period. Free cash flow for the 6 months was almost $2 billion and the company had cash and equivalents and marketable securities of $9.3 billion as at the 30th of June 2022. With such a strong financial position, Vertex can continue to sustainably fund its R&D pipeline towards potential commercialization. Despite Vertex's market leadership in CF, strong financial position and significant R&D pipeline, the company's shares were recently trading on around 21 times trailing non-GAAP net income. We view this as a reasonable multiple for the existing CF business, and the market's current pricing suggests there is potential for material performance upside from Vertex's R&D pipeline. As an effective monopoly in its field, Vertex's CF medicines enjoy strong pricing power and profit margins. AbbVie is another large pharmaceutical company that has been trying to develop a product to compete with Vertex, though without substantial success so far. If a viable alternative treatment were to emerge, an unlikely prospect, at least in the near term, then Vertex's margins would likely experience downward pressure or revenue could fall away. Furthermore, Vertex's products are protected by patents which eventually expire and potentially open the door for cheaper, generic competition. It is therefore essential that Vertex develop new and more effective products to maintain its dominant position when existing patents expire. The biotech R&D process is inherently uncertain, expensive and time-consuming, while safety issues and reputation risk are also significant. We don't expect all of Vertex's new programs to succeed like its existing CF products, but we also don't believe the market has priced in such success in Vertex's current valuation. Vertex's reliance on third-party reimbursement to subsidize the high cost of its products also represents a key risk. Efforts to contain healthcare costs by governments could reduce the level of reimbursement for Vertex's products, and subsequently impact company revenue. Negative public sentiment towards big pharma, particularly in the case of monopolistic, high-cost treatments, may also put pressure on governments to change legislation with regard to drug pricing and impact Vertex's sales performance. Vertex is already a well-established leader in treatment of the underlying cause of cystic fibrosis, with its monopolistic products unlikely to be challenged at least in the near term. This dominant position is enabling Vertex to invest heavily into its R&D pipeline, which if successful, would drive future growth and diversify its revenue streams. Despite the company's stranglehold on the CF treatment market, Vertex's shares trade on a reasonable valuation, meaning there is significant upside potential from the product pipeline. Vertex Pharmaceuticals is a buy.